But you were supposed to continue the communication.
I don't play by your rules.
Arrived at the Airbnb. Kyler says he's working. I don't know. He ain't working, he's right there. Look at that fool.
What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
I'm a little potent. You can spit it out if you need to.
No, I just think I need to do it in phases.
Yeah, I have to do my eyes. She's like, my eyes, I'm crying. It's fine.
Welcome to Eastern.
Shot king.
So this is
Shot king.
So this must be like how they do in Washington. They were not better than us. You watch your games? We were.
Second the money, I just need to save for grad school.
Oh man, what are you doing?
Dallas Blonde.
It stays stale.
You can do it at JSU.
Or is it the only one I opened?
We're on an Alabama.
Spring cocktails.
Woo! To the playoffs.
To the playoffs. And all you did was go 3 hours away. I know, it's got a movie. Alright, we good? It's called Snacks. Baseball swung that shit out of that one. The grab you might win.
Salute. Cheers it up, boys.
Hey!
Let's go.
Dude. Well, I only got so many hands, bro.
Dude, amazing.
Oh, I'm sure that's where I was going. I ran out of water to kick.
Yes, sir.
If it's like this,
We're all good.
yeah.
I'll grab a cue.
Bison rib.
Bison rib. Look at this sucker.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's man meat right there.
You don't have to hold your tongue out.
I just thought you were an actual reference. No, that's weird. You look like everybody else in here except for that.
Chill.
Okay.
Your college transfer that I'm going to Thailand.
Oh, this is gonna be nice and tight. Two-row for Fans Nation. Boo, Chris.
Grab a glass, grab a seat. It's Two Margaritas with Matt.
I tell you what, FCS fans nation, copyright has struck our intro, which is very sad after 8 years. What also struck were the Bobcats of Montana and the Thunderstruck of NDSU. Welcome, FCS fans nation. We are live. Matt Frazee and a better bearded, more attractive, certainly more intelligent individual, Mr. Montana Parlay, is joining me live. Frisco Parlay, as they might want to call him. Thank you so much on this holiday weekend, FCS fans nation, as the live viewers are popping up, for joining us. This is certainly a special that we are providing here because we don't typically do this episode. In 8 seasons of the FCS Fans Nation podcast, Mr. Parlay, we have never done an episode post semifinal because we typically have like this 3-week gigantic break and everybody's exhausted. But guess what? Got one of the best Montana State fans and humans in yourself. You've got a Bison fan and myself. So why not be on here for only 30, 40 minutes just to entertain the folks and do a little bit of recap from yesterday's game? Mr. Parlay, how are you 3 days before Christmas?
I feel honored to be here. I'm been bunkered down in Montana since the UT Martin game, working remote, going back and forth between Billings and Bozeman. 7 Bobcat games I've taken in this year between
7.
Those 3, the Idaho games and a couple of road games. So, it's just I've been buckled in for the long haul this year. This feels like the year that we've got the chance. I know we'll dig into that more, but yeah, Christmas, our family does everything Christmas Eve. I'm actually flying back home on Christmas Day. So, yeah, it's hard to believe that stuff's coming up in a couple days. And before we know it, we'll all be in Frisco.
Yeah, baby.
Like you said, 2 weeks off this year. Going to sneak up on us real quick.
Yes, it is. And it's always a good time. I'm sure you caught yourself in some of those amazing moments in the Frisco video that kicks off the live stream. Excited to make more memories with you down there, buddy. So we don't want to waste anybody's time. This isn't like the normal formatted show. As you can see, if you've ever watched the Two Margaritas with Matt, the few episodes I did do, hope to do more in the future. This is going to be more off the cusp. And what we want to talk about is less about who's going to win in Frisco and what's going to happen. More of our takeaways from yesterday and what we saw, and maybe how that impacts things when these two great teams match up. And first, I have to say this. Mr. Jordan Finkston here says the Cowboys, Matt Sy. By the way, this shows proof as a Bison fan that I'm human and that I do have things in my life that are not great, unlike NDSU. So there you go. You're a Bears fan. Am I correct on that there?
Yeah.
Harlan?
So, even with our dominating year, I always have this bit of like, when is it going to catch up to us? When are we not going to win? Because being a lifetime Bears fan, you never win, at least not since I could not remember it in 85. That was 2.
Right. Yeah, that's a different world. Well, in the world we're in now, my man, the Bobcats and the Bison, number 1 versus number 2, the entire playoff field of the FCS, not once has a lower seed beat the higher seed. The whole thing's gone chalk since the quarters, which bodes well, or seems to, for Bobcat Nation. And let's start right there, dude. Let's go with your overall takeaway from yesterday's game, from your perspective, from your team. How did you feel about the performance of the Bobcats yesterday, looking back on it?
I felt pretty good. They just grinded out on offense in the first half. They scored easily on. I don't know why teams keep deferring. I guess they think that getting the ball in the third quarter when our stands are half empty is going to be an advantage. But I don't know if letting the Bobcats score every dang time on the first possession is that much of an advantage. Once again, less dramatic version of the Idaho game. We kind of pulled away to a little bit. At the end of the first half, we built a 10-point lead after they answered the first 2 touchdowns really quickly. So, it was interesting. I kind of had like a pretty good baseline of confidence. I just always felt that, the crowd, the atmosphere, and our depth was going to be too much. And then really, it was Tommy. I mean, you look at it. The only second half touchdown was his off a bad snap. And, you can look at some fumble luck stuff. We can get into that more between the two games, but bounced right in his hands. It could have hit the corner of the ball and went out to a defensive end, but right in his hands. And he made two maneuvers to score the only touchdown in the second half, which kind of sealed the game. It was a raucous crowd, but it was definitely a different vibe than in 21. It's almost like we kind of knew we were going to do it. I don't know if everyone in the stands knew how good South Dakota was. Like, someone like me, who's been paying attention to them all year, was there in Brookings to watch them play. They have some studs on that team, obviously, but playing in Bozeman's different. It's just different. And that's why those top 2 seeds, I'm sure you can speak on that. Having that home field in the semis is just so important. God, all I can get back to is Tommy Millott. I mean, he's just come so far. He's always been able to run it, but the fact now that he can thread the needle on his passes, and he just brings a confidence and an intelligence that just seeps through the whole team.
Yeah, Tommy Millott, just even watching game recaps, and I caught most of the game the other day, is just his freakish ability to go from 0 to 1,000 once he takes off. It's like he is clearly like the fastest straight line runner on the team. It reminds me of Easton Stick. People joke throughout his career with NDSU. The other players would say, he's the fastest guy when we line up and we run straight. Like, he's so quick. And when Tommy goes, he's just so fast. Yeah, I for entertainment value on this podcast, I kind of picked a close score with Sam Herder, but then I came true with my confession on the SDSU podcast, and I said, I think Montana State's going to kill him. And it didn't turn out being a killing. I think maybe if it was 38-17, but it sure felt that way after the 14-14 split happened. I don't know. I don't think Montana State ever had a worry there. My takeaway on NDSU from yesterday's game was just one of the best classics I've ever seen between those two teams. First off, incredible. SDSU, thank you for being around. I mean, thank you for making this fun and causing us to have nerves. But I guess I was just shocked at how NDSU responded to the doubt. I doubted them. Sam Herder didn't pick them. All these people didn't pick them. I think Craig Haley's the only one who gave us a 1-point edge. And for them to hold SDSU to 129 rushing yards and to stop the Wilde and Mark Gronowski connection and just to hold them down enough. And then you got to talk about Cam Miller. It's interesting. We're kind of on the same thing here with Tommy Millott and Cam Miller. You go back 3-4 years ago, and I saw Ron's comment in here. He says, last time Cam had like 15 yards on 15 carries and was 5 for 12 for 66 against the Cats. We're just not dealing with the same Tommy. We're not dealing with the same Cam. And now Cam's got fully healthy Raja Nelsons and Bryce Lances and these guys to throw to. I was shocked by the usage of the weapons. I was a little disappointed, but I shouldn't doubt the coaches that NDSU would just try to force that run on first down. It was like, you're only getting 2 yards. What are you doing? But boy, the second they turned on that passing game, away it went. And yeah, on a neutral field, does NDSU win that game? I don't know. But like you said, home field advantage. It's a total edge. And I was just really shocked, like I said, when I looked into it. People are thinking that NDSU's rush defense is this horrible thing. And honestly, I was kind of a critic of that. Yet it sits top 25 in the nation, and so does the total defense. So I think that's going to be a big factor. And it's really going to be fun to see these two teams who are 1,000 times better than 2021 when they faced off. It's going to be fun. So we don't want to get too much into the matchup. We might have a few fans popping on to talk about that there, Mr. Parlay. I want to go into your whole road to this point. What did you think of Montana State's overall playoff road to get to Frisco? Impressed, not impressed, or what?
Well, I was impressed. Having the games in Bozeman, I keep coming back to that. It's just such a big deal. UT Martin, after the first round, I try to find a kind of a thing to complain about every, it's
so you're
drum
a fan.
Up some clicks, but it's like, man, we get the best team out of the first round because UT Martin steamrolled New Hampshire. Idaho, you got Eck and you got Jack at QB coming back healthy. Like, they're dangerous. And, even though we steamrolled them in the first game, they should be above Incarnate Word. We should be getting a Southern team in the cold. But honestly, we just took care of business. And UT Martin had a good run defense. They were solid. They had some big boys up front. So Tommy passed the ball for over 300 yards. Okay. Idaho, they scored early, just like South Dakota did, but then we shut them down. They were 0 for 11 on third downs at one point. I posted that picture on Twitter of like us. I think the Bobcats were like 5 for 6, and they were 0 for 11 on third downs. Like, that is an insane stat. Then South Dakota yesterday, we came up big when we had to. The crowd was a big part of it. South Dakota doesn't really give up sacks with that massive offensive front, and we had a huge sack when it mattered the most. Forcing a false start when it was huge. They had an offside on a punt that gave us a first down that ended up we punted 4 plays later. But there's just some big plays that they just never seem to get super comfortable after that first quarter when they kept with us. So, the interesting thing I think was the second half took me back to 2021, where just we played almost like trench warfare with teams. Like, I remember specifically at Weber State in 21 and at Eastern, where we'd get up a little bit and then just nothing would happen in the game. And I think some of that was just to protect Tommy. We didn't put him out on the edge. We didn't do the RPO. So he didn't get banged up in the second half. And it made us slightly nervous that, oh, what are we doing? 2 4-and-outs in a row. They caught up on time of possession. But overall, like you said, there wasn't really a huge scare in there. Although South Dakota did have 2 fourth-down turnovers on downs inside the 10-yard line in the second half. And they convert one of those, it's a slightly different ball game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think on the FCS Fans Nation podcast, we basically just were like, oh, Montana State, let's do our game predictions. Montana State, Montana State, Montana State, Montana State. In fact, doing the bracket challenge, I think I had Chris Hammond, who loves Idaho, and maybe one person pick USD. That's out of like 33 folks, and it's all Montana State. I mean, you guys have just been a steamroller all year. Impressive playoff run to this point. I think North Dakota State, to some extent, I like how you said, like, we felt safe. We felt like we probably were going to win. That's NDSU fans to the semis every year. And I think the disappointment started with Abilene Christian, just in terms of them getting up quick and fast. I think it was like 17-3, right? And then a big punt return happens and the Bison kind of flip the script. But it almost felt like after that moment, okay, NDSU is going to lock in and away we go. Very impressed with them against Mercer. Mercer's offense, it's too young. It wasn't good. But again, good rushing defense. And Mercer was a, team people talked about their defense. This is at least with Mercer. The offense is bad. The defense is good. Yeah. NDSU still putting up 30. We were impressed by that. And then, to play that high style of SoCon team that was in there, and then to throw, Abilene Christian, who people are really high on in the future. I think those are 2 good quality opponents that NDSU did really well against. And then to come and play SDSU, to have to play them twice. I mean, you're talking going for the 3rd championship, 2-time defending champs. The line play for SDSU to some extent almost looked better for a good majority of the game. It's just what Tim Polasek and Cam Miller elevated to with the rest of the team and what they did as a unit. The linebackers played better. I think yesterday, and I think the whole run made us think they're starting to click a little bit, and the SDSU game made Bison fans think we might be just playing our best ball. So I think that's what our overall road looks like. Do you think your fans' expectations of yesterday's game were exceeded or not? Do you think they were exceeded? Do you think it was normal? What do you think how that went yesterday for you?
I think it was pretty normal. I mean, you got your fans out there saying, oh, we're going to blow them out. But they obviously don't know who the Yotes were. But I think they were met because there was a little touch and go in the first quarter, but overall we just had a steady lead that we held. I think some of the fans that around us and talking to people in the tailgate afterwards would have liked to see some scoring in the second half to build a little more confidence, get a little less nervous. It was nice to have the 2 wins we had before this, where it's just like I was almost thinking, do we know how to be a good crowd in a second half? They haven't had to be loud after the first half in Bozeman at all this year. So I think they were met with some getting a little greedy, wanting more points in the second half. And if you bet the over, you got a game that was what was it, 38 points in the first half, and then 10 the rest of the game in the under hits. So, I guess if you bet the under, or if you're a little greedy, your expectations weren't met. But if you're a realistic fan, how can you not be happy about a 14-point semifinal win against a very quality team that took SDSU down to the wire at home and beat you guys? So,
Yeah,
overall, I'd say yes, they were met.
absolutely. I mean, I wrote this question, but do I need to answer it? Like, were your fans' expectations met? I mean, beating SDSU, Tim Balsick said at the end of the game, you beat them by 1 and you're happy. Finally, the boogeyman who Cam Miller clearly hates was defeated down there in Fargo. And yeah, I can't imagine as a Bison fan, you don't walk out of that dome thinking like it was always going to go that way. It was always going to be close, but we were the ones who made the plays. The fans, for sure, I think for North Dakota and NDSU are satisfied. But satisfaction within NDSU world, it ends very quick. I mean, I bet it's midday today. Most Bison fans are like, we better win the title or this season is a failure. I don't share that mentality completely. I can see some cool moments throughout a year. 2016, we didn't win it, but beating Iowa was awesome, but the expectations are always going to be high for that team. Before we bring on some real fans to actually give us a fan perspective, are you facing the team your fans wished you were going to face? I'm interested in your take, Parlay, because I think NDSU, to some extent, would have felt more comfortable to win the title against USD because we gave that game away. Let's see if USD's got it in the biggest moment. I think we would have felt more comfortable to beat USD because Montana State is just better. But at the same time, it is really cool to go against Vegan and the best of the best. I bet Bison fans would be close to 50-50 split there. But are you guys playing the team that you wish you were? Because Kyler and I debated heavy on this, on who Montana State would match up better with. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because I was talking to some friends that, if South Dakota State wins, that might motivate USD a little bit to get a rematch with their rival. But, excuse me.
It's okay. The 2 margaritas can hit sometimes. I know you're probably got something a lot stronger than that.
Water, yeah. But I think, I hate to say it, not that this is going to be pegged on the bulletin board in the locker room anywhere, but I think the overall feeling in the tailgate was that we match up better with NDSU purely because South Dakota State's defense is better. But, NDSU is the boogeyman, the one we can't overcome. So I know that might change now as we build up to it. Ahead of the game, 2 weeks out, when SDSU's been so dominant the last 2 years, you want to say, oh, yeah, this is the year the Bison are vulnerable. This is the year we got them. And then I get into silly things like, hey, I think a not insignificant part of the Bison dynasty was just like they were used to the whole Frisco experience. And to me, part of that was, that 11 a.m. Central Time game Saturday mornings. Now this is a new thing for everyone. It's a Monday night. So it's not like the routine thing kind of goes out the window. It's a new routine for everyone. So I think, shorten that answer, most people I talked to wanted to face NDSU, but, as far as like fans wise, I think we kind of have a little brother connection with SDSU. So it's almost like our fans can get along a little better, but on the field, we wanted to face the Bison.
Yeah, I think myself and even Brian Thompson, Taco King, he's in here. We felt like Montana State matched up better to beat NDSU because some of those defensive arguments. Where Kyler will probably speak on the big show, with our preview episode where he says, I think NDSU offensively is going to do a lot more to Montana State than they realize. And that might get them a little out of their comfort zone. How much adversity have they felt with a back and forth, So I'm not saying which one is right. It's just, it's an interesting argument. And I can see if I was a Montana State fan, I would be happier I was playing NDSU. Last one here. What's your confidence meter or mental state to your team's fans knowing the matchup? What do you think the confidence level, and we're about to hear from 2 of our best on that confidence meter, but what do you think your overall confidence meter is? I think for NDSU, they are wrong in one department and right in a second. They're wrong in this. A lot of them have not paid enough attention, and they expect 2021 all over again. Very, 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 very dumb. You should not be thinking like that. And you don't watch ball, you don't know ball. Number two, I do think a lot of us Bison fans are thinking we're kind of playing with house money a little bit. Like, the pressure's not on NDSU as much to win the title. They're not undefeated. Everybody picked SDSU under the sun. So I think the confidence meter is like, we're going to go down, we're going to do our thing, and I think we can win. So I think there is confidence amongst Bison Nation. And that's the right kind of confidence, the second one. What do you think is the mental confidence or thought process of Bobcat fans?
I think they're probably still absorbing the win yesterday, but also they're pretty confident. I think there's always that boogeyman approach of we just can't beat these guys. It's been so long. I know the lifetime record we're ahead by quite a bit, but that probably goes back to your D2 days. But you've beat us every year since you came into Bozeman in, was it 2011, and steamrolled us. So 5 times in a row, all in the playoffs, all by significant margins. 2021, you throw that completely out the window. You guys had, what, 4 NFL offensive linemen? You know, now
all five in the league with Hunter Lipke. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just Tommy getting hurt or not. I don't care if 2024 Tommy was on that team and 100% healthy, unless Watson was out of that game. That was I think our only chance is take that playmaker out and have a perfect Tommy and every break go our way.
Yeah, I could have stood behind NDSU's offensive line and handed off the ball for 4 quarters, and Montana State would not have won.
Exactly. We weren't beating that line, and now we have possibly the line advantage. We've got 2 potential league guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, you completely throw 2021 out the window, even though Tommy and Cam are back. And Cam, I mean, he didn't need to do much that year, so I can't really even judge his performance. Last year, I've made comments. He didn't look good against great teams, okay? This year, he's impressed the hell out of me. That's what scares me the most, honestly, is that I think overall, this is our year. We're built for it. We might be deeper. We might have some edges in certain spots. We're 4-point favorites right now. But the way Cam's looked against Colorado, I was there. The way Cam looked against the Tennessee road game, where miracle comeback, against the Marker game. A lot of it was Bryce Lance yesterday, but yesterday too, he's just a guy, even if there is a disadvantage on the lines, you got enough skill, and you got Cam, who's just, it's like Cam and Tommy are both this is their destiny year. So
yeah.
What happens? What happens if both guys are that good and have solid teams around them? Both are just super confident, and this is it. They're going to win it. What gives? What breaks? I just almost come in thinking anything can happen. I think we've got the slight edge, but I'm trying to be healthy about it. Not, I hope we win, obviously, but I don't want to be devastated if we somehow lose, because
Well, you answered the question there, Parlay. The mental that's the Bobcat mental state right now, where Bison fans maybe a little too confident. Your mental state is like, we think we're the best, but let's manage expectations. And honestly, based off our history, that's kind of where both fans are probably at. So why don't we get to where the fans are actually at, though? Because listen, we chalked up this thing called FCS Gold, 99 cents a month. And there's been a few people who are like, listen, we like the show, we want to support it, but they also have chances at pick'em challenges and grand prizes and ad-free podcasts. You guys have heard the plug a million times. And 2 of our best, one who is literally leading the bracket challenge. So that's Mr. Cody Werlinger down here, and Mr. Eric Klecki. In fact, wow, StreamYard put you on the right sides of these lines.
Perfect.
Eric, a Bobcat fan, and Cody, a Bison fan. Before we ended this quick hit for you guys to get to your holiday season, what Parlay and I wanted to cover was really just kind of what we thought about yesterday. But we're going to give these 2 fans a chance to say how they think things are going to go in Frisco, how they're feeling about their teams, give them each a few minutes, And then don't go anywhere, because if you're interested in Frisco tickets or know somebody who wants them, Montana Parlay has an opportunity for you. Boy, I doubt we're going to see any of this viewership drop right now, because Frisco tickets, you could get Frisco tickets. And you know what? Let's start. We always say, I mean this in the nicest way, I'm just going board game rules, at least in my house. Loser goes first anytime. And last time we played, the Bison did win. So, Mr. Eric Klecki, you get first up here. How are you feeling about the Bobcats going to Frisco, facing off the Bison? Give us the fan breakdown, Eric, and thank you for being a great Gold member, man.
I feel good about going against NDSU. I think just go off Parlay's thing of would you like having NDSU in the finals? I think the Bobcats themselves want NDSU in the finals, and that's what they got. I think it's been a revenge tour this year after what happened last year, just how much that was a complete disaster against Idaho, getting killed by the Grizz, and then last year in the playoffs in that first round in that block to extra point. What they've done this year has just been incredible, just after that disaster of the season, them just going 1-0 every week. And now they finally have a chance to not only just ditch the boogeyman of losing to NDSU so many times in the playoffs, but the avenge for the block extra point last year, which I was there for that game. That was my last game I was ever had at Bobcat Stadium as a student. Man, it would make me so happy.
Dang, man.
If we can go into Monday, go into Frisco, and absolutely take that trophy away and get this NDSU monkey off our back.
Dude, I feel, man, I actually feel really bad. We didn't even win the title, and I like you, Eric. Eric, this is your chance. You're in the bracket challenge. Cody's the one right now who leads the whole dang thing. What is your chance out in the public right now? It could certainly change. What would be your score prediction, and who's your MVP of the game for your Bobcats?
MVP
Don't
is
pick
easy.
Bison and be lame or do anything like that.
MVP would be easy. There's no other person I would pick. It would be Tommy Malott. I think this game's going to be really close. Both of these teams have been playing stellar. Both quarterbacks are easily having their best years. There's a reason why they're both Walter Payton finalists. I think this is going to be a really close game. Bobcats have scored 30-plus every game this season. The lowest they've scored was 30. That was against UC Davis. I think I would predict this score is going to be 34-31 Montana State.
Very cool. Eric, your perspective is always incredible. Cody, long time no see. Of course,
again.
Maybe just catching you in the dome for a little bit throughout that stressful one. The leader of the bracket challenge right now, Mr. Werlinger. What do you think about the Bison going down into Frisco? How are you feeling about the game?
Feeling good. We're going back home. We're going back home, Fargo South. We've been there, 10 times, 9-1. Only team to beat us is the Missouri Valley team. And I've always said it's a Missouri Valley team who's going to have to beat us. Vegan, he's a Bison, former Bison. He knows how they go. He knows how the Bison go, play, coach. I'm a little nervous. Our tackling even yesterday was a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this. I looked up some stats. I didn't realize Montana State had 2,000-yard rushers plus Malott at 915 yards. That's almost three running backs and a quarterback at 1,000 yards. That's 3,000 yards. That's crazy. I'm worried about our tackling, but I think Lance and Cam Miller will be fine. That combo is amazing.
The passing offense is definitely going to have to be there. What do you think about MVP? Your bracket gives it away. You picked the Bison. So MVP and a score prediction, what do you have?
I got Cam Miller, and I'll flip his score, 34-31 Bison.
Okay, very cool. Just for fun's sake, there you go. That's the leading bracket, and it's kind of hard to see. But Werlinger, you basically missed nothing. I think Richmond and New Hampshire were your downfalls in the initial bracket, and then you've just nailed it all. And I should make fun of you a little bit and be like, are you the guy who just picks the NCAA tournament? You just go off the seeding? Because if you did it this year, that was genius. Because that's how the playoffs have gone. But
no, this year you just looked at the matchups and kind of like people were saying, everyone thought it was going to go chalk, and that's what it has been.
Absolutely.
Then you look at the FBS, that's been totally all home teams.
For sure. Well, Eric and Cody, I'm going to bounce you out of here, but we appreciate you guys making the time right before the holiday season. I hope your families have a great holiday. Merry Christmas. We appreciate you guys in the FCS Gold Realm. Expect more of this to come next season, as we had a trial period with that whole thing. We want way more fan interaction, especially on the pods coming next year. So I hope I see both of you in Frisco, beers and handshakes, and then we'll have a good time no matter what. So
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas.
see you, gentlemen. Before we end the podcast, and now the viewers went up, Mr. Parlay, you have an opportunity for Frisco tickets. And I bought my flights down to Frisco out of Fargo in August for $300. And those same flights are like $850, $900. The ticket prices are outrageous.
Yeah.
People right now, they're looking for a way to Frisco. Tell me a little bit about what you got going on.
So I purchased them the day they went for sale, not knowing how good Montana State was going to be, even though they had a favorable schedule. But I'm auctioning off two. I say that I use some website that I don't know how easy it is to use, but here's the offer. If you need tickets to Frisco and you want to give to a good cause, every dollar, including what they cost, I'm not going to keep the principal for myself. Every dollar that they sell for is going to Bozeman HRDC, which runs the food bank in Billings, or Bozeman runs Fork and Spoon, which gives people it's a pay as you want meal for people that need a break now and then. My cousin Joe works at Fork and Spoon. They're working on a warming shelter that's going to come out soon. So just a great organization. You can help the people in Gallatin Valley. But we're dropping a link here in the chat, or just reach out to me, Montana Parlay on Instagram, Montana Parlay on Twitter. Make me an offer. I offered them to Bobcat fans on Twitter. I don't have a huge reach myself, but I've seen tickets go for $1,100 a piece. I've seen, averages of $500 a ticket. If you offer me, make me an offer. That auction, it may or may not work out, but I'm going to make some money for Bozeman Food Bank some way, somehow. And Bison fans, you're welcome to buy them too. Okay. They're actually on the Bison side. It's section 102. Bobcat fans, don't let that deter you. There's going to be groups of fans from both teams on both sides. Okay.
Yes,
and there'll be big groupings of more on one or the other, but a lot of us especially Bison fans, buy their tickets early. So don't worry about the side. And actually, you won't be staring into the sun on the side that I got. That's why I got them where I got them. So they're good tickets. Row 11, two of them together. Make me an offer. I listed them starting at $750 for a pair. That's $375 each. And I have not seen tickets of these quality listed for less than $500 a piece. I would love to sell them for $500 a piece and donate $1,000 to the Bozeman Food Bank.
What a generous, incredible, in the season of giving, it never turns off for you, Parlay. You buy these tickets preemptively. You have no idea who's going to be there. And you're like, food bank or bust. I mean, it just reminds me of that James Madison wear the jersey year of donating to, help other people. And at the end of the day, this FCS Fans Nation thing, teams are going to win. They're going to lose. People are going to be sad in the stands or this or that. But there has been impact made through this whole thing. There's been community, friendships, other stuff. And you're just an extension of that right now. And it's honestly the most honorable thing. So love you for it, man. And I hope people blow those tickets up. Even if you plan to not win the tickets, why not give something to a food bank for someone who's in a lesser situation, my man? So
if you want to make a bid and donate them, go ahead.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it, guys. Let's give back on a good season. With that, I will definitely be seeing you down in Frisco, Mr. Parlay. I'm excited to have many beers and many drinks with you and just honestly enjoy the environment that is brought with the individuals. I will give you the final say of the podcast because we don't get you on all the time, but of course, everybody can catch you on the FCS Fans Network. Shameless plug for the podcast, my man. I've seen your viewership numbers. People love the gambling.
Yeah, Big Sky, Big Takes. We're going to do kind of a special tomorrow to either announce the winner of the auction or kind of double down and with a different way to sell those two tickets. Again, to benefit the Bozeman Food Bank. HRDC is their organization name. and also announce a winner. I was trying to do some promotion and reward the loyal fans that show up every week and participate. I've got a pick between. It's now narrowed down between two people that submitted stories. Someone's getting a free ticket to Frisco, and so I'm announcing that tomorrow. And then we'll probably have one pregame show in Frisco, just to me and Colby will kind of go over the betting angles of the game. But Big Sky Big Takes tomorrow, 8:30 Central Time, 7:30. 9:30 Central, 8:30 Mountain Time. Special edition. We're going to announce some ticket winners, and yeah, come down to Frisco if you can make it. Like, I'm lucky. I love Montana. It'll never leave me. I'll come someday. I might end up here again, but living in Chicago, I'm spoiled. I can get super cheap flights whenever I want to Dallas. If you're in a position where you can get to Frisco, come. It's a lot of fun. Even if it's just for the weekend and you got to work Monday, we're going to be there Saturday, Sunday, some of us earlier. Come and hang out, eat some great barbecue, drink some beers, play some Top Golf. Hit us up. We won't turn you down.
Absolutely. The best thing we love about Frisco is meeting the people. So if you see us down there, you run us down. We'll be the group in all the different colors that don't look like Bobcat fans and don't look like Bison fans, myself and Taco King excluded. To the viewers, nearly 80 of you consistently, on a Sunday night when you got holidays and families and things, we hope you gave you a nice little breakdown of the semis. Thank you again to Cody and Eric for joining us. Mr. Parlay, thank you so much. We will have the big show, the big preview show with some special guests that will drop next Sunday evening after the holidays. We hope your family and friends have an incredible holiday season. Hold people close, hold people tight, and we really hope you guys enjoyed our show and our preview for you. Mr. Parlay, I will see you down in Frisco sooner than later. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for having a few drinks, whether it was water or whether it wasn't. And we'll see you down in Frisco when we tiptoe, hidey ho, down in Frisco. See you there, buddy. Merry Christmas. Oh.